There are moments that remind us that faith is not merely acknowledging historical facts about Jesus or agreeing with certain doctrines. These moments test your faith. I visited a friend's church recently, and we sang the hymn, "Be Still My Soul." While we sang, tears of joy filled my eyes. As my heart clung to Jesus in faith, I experienced deep peace and hope as more than fleeting feelings, but as Christ-anchored confidence. The words of this hymn have a depth of meaning that I would not know if it weren't for the trial that God has blessed us with. There's a truth in them that speaks to the heart of every believer who has suffered pain and grief and loss in this life, all while treasuring Christ as gain. So I sang from the bottom of my heart, and this crazy thought crossed my mind. I would not trade this joy forged in the fire of affliction for a pain-free life. The truths of this hymn are much more precious to me than they would be if I had not tasted this affliction. The joy of knowing Christ and seeing His glory in this way is much too precious to give up. The day we found out that our boys most likely have some genetic abnormalities, we went home and cried. Bad news shakes us to our core. As we sat in the ultrasound room and watched the doctor come through the door with a concerned expression on his face, the world seemed to stand still. Listening to him explain the complications with our babies felt unreal, like an experience you only hear about, not an experience you expect to ever live through. Are some people formed less fearfully and wonderfully? Is God more careless in the knitting together of some? Is that really fair? All that pain and difficulty just so God's works could be displayed in His life one day? January 19th, 2012. About 18 and a half weeks into the pregnancy, we found out we were expecting twins. That unexpected news brought incredible joy and left us speechless for a while. A double blessing from God, who was pleased to give us 2 boys at once. At this first ultrasound, we learned that the boys are identical twins. What a miracle. The doctor did find a bright spot that showed up on the babies' hearts during the ultrasound. It is sometimes associated with genetic or chromosome abnormalities. We also learned at this appointment that one of the boys had a club foot. March 5th, 2012. After our 4th ultrasound, the doctor entered the room with a concerned look on his face. He said they noticed that there was excess amniotic fluid in both amniotic sacs, a condition known as polyhydramnios. However, he didn't see any additional symptoms to cause any alarm, so he said we would simply monitor things closely moving forward. March 20th, 2012. This was definitely the most emotionally challenging ultrasound. The ultrasound showed that the boys' hands were postured differently. Also, neither baby showed much movement in the womb, which concerned the doctor. The boys' legs are straight and flexed up with their feet near their heads. Putting everything together, the doctor said that they most likely have some type of genetic abnormality. Genetic birth defects may be physical only or mental and physical. We have decided not to endanger their safe environment in the womb, resting instead on the reality that God has known every one of their days before one of them has come to be. March 25th, 2012. Barbara went into preterm labor and was admitted to the hospital. Thankfully, they were able to stop labor and slow contractions, preventing a premature birth. After 2 nights in the hospital, Barbara was released and put on modified bed rest. Rest as much as possible and leave the house only to visit the doctor. April 3rd, 2012. The doctor said things looked good and that the amniotic fluid had increased at a slower rate. Barbara's still on a modified bed rest, but was given permission to get out of the house on an occasional light errand. That's where we are now. We don't know what lies ahead, but we are confident that God will abundantly supply us with grace to handle whatever comes. April 17th, 2012. I'm writing this update from the hospital. Early this morning, Barbara's water broke, so we came in to get things checked. The doctors don't think that Barbara is in labor, but they are going to keep her here until she delivers. Today is 31 weeks, and the goal is to make it to 34. When the babies are born, they will need to spend some time in the NICU until at least 37 weeks, if not longer. Thank you to all of you who have communicated your support for us today. We are so grateful that you would share with us in our joy at the birth of our sons. It does not mean that those who trust God should expect never to receive bad news. This does mean that God firmly establishes the hearts of those who trust Him so that they are not overcome with fear or anxiety or depression when bad news comes. This is not merely a positive thinking tactic in which we tell ourselves the future will be okay. It's not wishful optimism. It's a real experience of sustaining strength from God that enables us to endure grief and trials without losing our footing. All the pain and agony of watching our own children suffer just makes us marvel at God. Why would He ever choose to suffer the loss of His own Son? Why would He allow His Son to suffer the loss of Himself? We would never choose to let our boys suffer, but God let His Son suffer for rebels who hated Him in order to reconcile us to Himself. It's when we look at the cross of Christ that we know beyond the shadow of every massive doubt that our suffering and pain could never mean that God doesn't love us. That question is settled. Oh, how He loves us. We don't know all the details of our boys' conditions, but we know that we don't have to fear bad news as we experience real strength and joy in God who satisfies our hearts in Christ. We can confirm that this is not crazy talk. It's real. Seeing and enjoying the glory of God in and through disability is better than having no disabilities. Yes, and what a gift that is, more valuable than sight, more beautiful than painted skies and brilliant rainbows of color. Seeing the glory of God is to be desired more than anything else. And so we trust that God will display His works in our boys. What a gift He has given us. We simply pray for eyes to see and enjoy His glory displayed.